Welcome back to our channel, dear friends and fellow longtime viewers. As someone who has watched General Hospital for more years than I can count, I find myself completely mesmerized by the current storyline revolving around Cassius Faison. Seeing the face of our dearly departed Nathan West walking the streets of Port Charles once again is a surreal and deeply emotional experience for us older fans. Ryan Pavey brings a chilling yet undeniably magnetic presence to Cassius, a man who is a dark mirror image of the hero we all loved. Cassius is currently masquerading as his twin, Nathan, and this deception cuts right to the core of our nostalgia. However, beneath this stolen identity lies a complex web of manipulation, survival, and a desperate bid for freedom that is currently threatening to tear the criminal underworld of our city apart. It is a masterful stroke of storytelling to take a face associated with so much goodness and use it to navigate the treacherous waters of international espionage and mercenary warfare. The crux of this current nightmare is the revival of the infamous cold fusion weapon prototype, a dark and terrifying legacy left behind by the one and only Cesar Faison. For those of us who remember the reign of terror Cesar inflicted upon Port Charles, the very mention of his unfinished projects sends a shiver down the spine. Now, Ross Cullum and Jen Sidwell are battling over the scraps of Faison's mad genius. Cullum, in his boundless arrogance, has claimed all the credit for the cold fusion project, completely sidelining Sidwell, who provided the crucial materials and resources to make the prototype a reality. This theft of glory has ignited a bitter and lethal feud between the two dangerous men. As a seasoned viewer, I cannot help but marvel at how the writers have woven Faison's dark history into the present, creating a volatile situation where massive egos are on a direct collision course with innocent lives caught in the crossfire. Caught squarely in the middle of this escalating war are Cassius and his sister Britt Westborne. Both of them desperately want out of this lethal project. We have watched Britt evolve over the years from a scheming young woman into a complex, fiercely protective mother figure to Rocco, and it breaks my heart to see her being used and blackmailed by Cullum. To Cullum, Britt and Cassius are nothing more than expendable assets, pawns to be sacrificed on the chessboard of his ambition. Britt has smartly chosen to go on the run, fighting tooth and nail to avoid being extradited back to Port Charles, where Cullum's control is absolute. The sheer desperation of her flight highlights the terrifying reach of the WSB and the rogue agents operating within it. It makes me wonder how much more trauma the Westborne family can endure before they finally turn the tables on their tormentors. The situation reached a horrifying boiling point when Cullum, frustrated by Britt's escape, resorted to the unthinkable. He abducted their mother, the formidable and fiercely beloved Liesl Obrecht, forcing her to take over the cold fusion project in Britt's absence. Seeing Liesl, a woman of immense strength and cunning, reduced to a hostage is profoundly disturbing. Yet, it is this very act of extreme aggression by Cullum that has fundamentally shifted the landscape of this storyline. None of the Westborne Obrecht Faison family members want anything to do with Caesar's unfinished, catastrophic work. For Cassius, who only recently discovered his mother and his true heritage, this abduction was a bridge too far. The writers have brilliantly used this kidnapping to spark a remarkable transformation within Cassius, shifting his motivations from mere self-preservation to a fierce and protective familial loyalty. This emotional evolution of Cassius is perhaps the most compelling aspect of the current narrative. When he first arrived, he was a cold, calculating operative. But as he has spent time in Port Charles, wearing Nathan's face, he is unexpectedly bonded with the family he never knew he had. He feels a growing connection to his mother, Liesl, his sister, Britt, his cousin, Nina Reeves, and, most poignantly, his young nephew, James West. Watching Cassius interact with James, knowing that he is looking at his brother's child, adds a layer of profound tragedy and warmth to his character. He is realizing that he is not just an isolated weapon, he belongs to a family. This newfound loyalty is driving his current, incredibly dangerous agenda. He is no longer just trying to survive. He is actively working to dismantle the threat against the people he has come to care for, even if it means playing a deadly game of Russian roulette with two of the most dangerous men in the world. To protect his family and secure his freedom, Cassius has concocted a brilliant, albeit suicidal, master plan. He is actively playing Ross Cullum and Jen Sidwell against each other, exploiting their massive egos and their mutual hatred. As a television critic, I must applaud the sheer suspense this dynamic creates. Cassius is walking a razor-thin tightrope, acting as a double agent, carefully feeding each man perfectly tailored pieces of information about the other's movements and intentions. He knows that Sidwell is consumed by a thirst for revenge after Cullum stole the credit for the cold fusion weapon. He also knows that Cullum views Sidwell as a loose end that needs to be permanently severed. By stoking the fires of their paranoia, Cassius is orchestrating a scenario where these two titans will inevitably destroy one another, hopefully leaving him and his family free from their tyrannical grasp. The intricate plotting of this storyline took a fascinating turn, involving two of our most respected legacy characters, Mayor Laura Collins and former police commissioner Jordan Ashford. In a recent, highly tense sequence of events, Laura and Jordan unwittingly handed Cassius the very ammunition he needed to escalate his deadly game. Believing they were speaking to the trusted and beloved Nathan West, they shared a crucial piece of intelligence. It is a testament to the tragedy of Cassius's deception that these two brilliant women who have spent their lives fighting corruption were completely fooled by his familiar face. Jordan, with her extensive background in the DEA and her years spent relentlessly pursuing dangerous drug lords like Cyrus Renault, is certainly not incompetent. She has always been a formidable investigator. However, the emotional blind spot created by Nathan's presence allowed Cassius to gather vital information right from under the noses of Port Charles's finest. The tip that Laura and Jordan unknowingly provided was explosive and fraught with danger. They revealed that Jen Sidwell, who is currently a highly sought-after fugitive, had recently purchased a secluded property for Lucas Jones and Marco Rios. This house was suspected to be Sidwell's current hiding place. Hearing this, my heart immediately sank for Lucas, who has always been a moral compass in a family often surrounded by darkness. The fact that Sidwell is using a property tied to Lucas places an innocent man in the direct crosshairs of a lethal mercenary war. Cassius, armed with this highly classified information, immediately recognized the strategic value of this secret location. It was the perfect piece of bait to use in his deadly manipulation of Cullum and Sidwell, a location where a final, bloody confrontation could easily be staged without drawing the immediate attention of the Port Charles Police Department. What adds a fascinating layer of complexity to Cassius's character is that his initial instinct was not entirely cold-blooded. When he first learned of the danger closing in, Cassius actually attempted to help Sidwell escape. He warned the mercenary to flee the country, to run for his life, and leave the cold fusion project behind. This moment of unexpected mercy showed that Cassius is not a complete monster. He understands the value of survival. However, Sidwell, blinded by his own towering ego and an all-consuming desire for vengeance, stubbornly refused to listen. Sidwell is absolutely furious that he provided the essential materials for the prototype, only for Cullum to claim the glory. He wants Cullum dead, and he is willing to risk everything to achieve that retribution. Sidwell's refusal to flee sealed his fate and forced Cassius to adapt his strategy, pushing him further down a dark and treacherous path. The situation escalated beyond the point of no return when Cassius relayed the location of the safe house to Ross Cullum. Cullum, ruthless and decisive, immediately ordered Cassius to stake out the property and execute Sidwell on sight. Cullum made it chillingly clear that Sidwell was not to leave that house alive. This lethal command placed Cassius in an impossible dilemma. He is now officially ordered to commit cold-blooded murder by a man who is currently holding his mother hostage. The tension in these scenes is palpable, a true masterclass in daytime drama As a viewer, you can see the wheels turning in Cassius's mind as he stands at this moral and tactical crossroads. He cannot simply refuse the order, as that would guarantee Liesl's death. But he also knows that killing Sidwell directly would only tie him closer to Cullum's dark empire, eliminating any chance he has of ever truly breaking free. This impossible predicament has birthed Cassius's ultimate, desperate masterstroke. Instead of following Cullum's orders to become a simple assassin, Cassius is setting an elaborate and deadly trap. He is manipulating the circumstances so that Cullum and Sidwell will be forced into a direct, fatal confrontation with one another. By carefully leaking information and controlling the flow of intelligence, Cassius is guiding these two predators into the same cage, locking the door and waiting for them to tear each other apart. It is a strategy born of pure desperation and protective instinct. He is gambling everything on the hope that their mutual hatred and immense egos will blind them to his manipulations. If his plan succeeds, the two men responsible for terrorizing his family will eliminate each other, leaving Cassius to quietly rescue his mother and disappear into the shadows without blood on his own hands. As we look toward the future of this gripping storyline, the questions are endless and thrilling. Will Cassius's dangerous gambit actually work? Can a man who has lived his life in the shadows truly outsmart two of the most seasoned and ruthless operatives in the criminal underworld? The potential for catastrophic collateral damage is immense. With Lucas Jones inadvertently tied to the safe house and Britt and Rocco still desperately on the run, the stakes have never been higher for the residents of Port Charles. Furthermore, how long can Cassius maintain this heart-wrenching facade? Eventually, the truth about his identity will be exposed, and the emotional fallout for those who love Nathan West, especially Nina and little James, will be absolutely devastating. The writers are building a house of cards that is destined to collapse in the most spectacular fashion imaginable, and I, for one, cannot wait to see how the pieces fall. In conclusion, watching this elaborate game of cat and mouse unfold has been a profound reminder of why we have dedicated so many years to General Hospital. The show continues to honor its rich, complicated history while pushing its characters into thrilling new territories. Cassius Faison is a magnificent addition to the canvas, a character who challenges our loyalties and keeps us guessing at every turn. His journey from a cold operative to a man desperately trying to save his newfound family is a testament to the enduring power of love and redemption, even in the darkest of circumstances. As we wait to see whether Cullum and Sidwell will indeed destroy each other, we can only hold our breath and hope that the innocent souls caught in their crossfire make it out alive. Thank you for joining me in this deep dive into the heart of Port Charles. The drama is far from over, and I look forward to sharing every shocking twist and turn with you in the days to come.